What's up, Trash Talkers? Here at Veteran Trash Talk, we actually vet our sponsors. We don't just take their money and run like a butter bar lieutenant lost on the land nav course. Are you finally ready to plant your flag and claim your territory? Maybe it's time to use that VA loan to buy a home. Or hell, maybe you're looking to refinance and put some extra cash in your pocket for more questionable life decisions. Either way, the Veterans Mortgage Source, powered by Canopy Mortgage, has your six. Look, buying a home or refinancing can feel like getting overrun on a bad op. Chaotic, confusing, and full of obstacles that make no damn sense. That's where Corey and his team come in. They're like the QRF of home loans, ready to pull you out of the chaos and guide you to the best program for you. And trust me, they'll answer all your questions. Yeah, even the dumb ones. Whether you're a salty vet or fresh out of barracks still trying to figure out where your TA-50 went. Great service, solid rates, and a team that actually understands the military life. That's why all of us here at Veteran Trash Talk trust them to do right by every veteran in their family. Ready to lock it in? Give Corey a call or shoot him a text at 808-699-7874. That's 808-699-7874. Don't wait. Unless you like overpaying and getting treated like an FNG. The Veterans Mortgage Source is powered by Canopy Mortgage, LLC. All loans are subject to credit and property approval.
What's up, everybody? What's going on, Trash Talkers, Gruntworks Nation? Happy Thanksgiving and happy Black Friday. Got to call out Corey right away because as you saw in the opener, we vet our sponsors. He's losing a little bit of street cred saying he's doing errands on Black Friday where everybody knows we don't do that anymore, right? We don't do errands on Black Friday. But I think more importantly, he's just depressed. He is depressed because my Packers and my Jordan Love, all right, just completely dominated the Lions. So, hey, Corey, happy Thanksgiving and welcome to your
happy Thanksgiving to you
sponsor
too.
show. Yeah. So let's talk about an instance in that game. What about that game did you not like? Like one major thing.
One of the things that drove me crazy was when they were going for it and had a clear false start on 4th and 2. And then you see the replay of LaFleur come in 3 seconds after the flag is thrown, allegedly calling timeout. And somehow that timeout prevented the penalty, which then led to a touchdown on a quick out. And I've never seen where a timeout can prevent a false start penalty.
So I was laughing hysterically when it happened, and I also it's funny because did you see the interview with LaFleur after the game?
No, I didn't see what he said.
No, they go, hey, so do you think you got that timeout in before the false start? And he winked and said, of course I did. I was yelling timeout the whole time. So I'm sure that would have enraged you, but I had to immediately look, and this is the segue into what we're actually doing this morning. As soon as that call happened, right, I was like, something's wrong here. Something's not connecting the vibes in Vegas, right? So I looked at where was the majority of the money on that game, right? And, AI is great for that in ChatGPT. 72% of the money in Vegas was on Detroit money line, right? So again, to you sports, we do a sports betting show. We talk about this all the time. I always say, watch the line. If the line starts going heavy one way, like it's just a simple phone call down to New York to NFL and saying, hey, the Lions don't win this game. Raj, check Raj. Okay, got it. It's like
it happens. It's crazy how much it happens when the money gets really lopsided. And
yeah. And I was trying to explain this to non-football fans. I'm like, there's holding and pass interference on every play. Every play.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like whether or not
you can call a hold on the O-line every play.
Every play, right? And you can call defensive holding. You can call illegal contact. It's just, I always say, like, when it's a fair game, they just try to do it if it impacted the play. They try to keep it that way. But there's other times where, hey, we got to slow this game down. Like, this team's about to run away with it. Little 20-yard, little 10-yard holding penalty, back the drive up. But anyways, that's corruption. Okay? And we do know for sure that there is corruption in the government. There's politics in the government. There's all kinds of things that stop the little man from getting bigger. right? But one thing that we talk about is, as veterans, one of the greatest tools that we have to start generating wealth at a very early age and to start doing it even as an E3, as an E4, is your VA loan. All right. Your VA loan can be used to make money, right? And if it's used properly, and again, there's lots of people out there that can help you. There is. We have Corey here, which he's been on the show doing segments. He's been a sponsor of us for over a year. So we really thank him for that, because his sponsorship money goes to paying some of our admin, paying the guest hosts on the show, and then putting ads out for the people that we are promoting. So like we just had Lieutenant General Beagle on the show with his book, right? We spend money to promote that book. And we have another author coming on in a couple weeks. We'll use that to promote his book. So every dollar that Corey gives us goes back into the veteran community, and he offers you free advice. Okay, those QR codes down there, Veterans Mortgage Source, PCS of Paradise, those are his. So Corey, welcome to your segment. What is going on with the corruption in the government? Does the Fed rates mean anything to the interest rates? Like, what's going on for 2026? What should we look forward to, and what should we be doing right now?
So I think the big thing right now, we're kind of winding down the year. I'd say, kind of a quick shout out to anybody that's doing their taxes or doing their tax planning. A real estate purchase or sale by the end of the year may or may not be important to your tax situation. So if you're kind of thinking about that, or you haven't talked to your tax guy, I definitely would recommend you do so. If you're kind of on the cusp of selling or buying, that's one thing always near the end of the year. People need to, I get a transaction or two a year where, the seller's like up our ass to close this deal by December 31st because they've got a tax bill, or vice versa. It cannot close until after 1/1 because they have a tax thing. So that's one thing to be thinking about if you're kind of active right now. The other thing right now, I'd always say some of the best deals I've seen people get if you're in the market to buy a house is over the holiday season, because there's, a lot of people don't really want to move or shop for homes over the holidays. And if but you get these homes out there that are vacant, the sellers wants to sell it, and you have less competition this time of year typically. So if you're in the market for a home right now, I definitely would go out and do some active shopping by the end of the year, because I've seen some really good deals come November through January. Some of the best deals buyers get with like under appraised value or big seller credits, because there's not the competition. It's a little bit slower season. So that's something this time of year that's important. As far as bigger picture stuff right now, you're starting to see, I think you mentioned the Fed. So the Fed doesn't directly control interest rates. They control the short-term overnight interest rate, which does trickle over to mortgage rates, which are, more long-term bonds, basically, is what a mortgage is. So it does have impact, but the Fed doesn't directly control the mortgage rates. I think that, the big thing you're seeing right now is there's a lot of dissent in the Fed among the members, which is pretty rare historically, that, you'll have so many people with voting, we should cut rates, we shouldn't cut rates. One of the big issues we're kind of seeing going into the December Fed meeting is, with the government shutdown, a lot of the data that they base their decision on wasn't released. They're not gonna issue so like the reports that came out just a couple of weeks ago were actually for September. A couple of the reports for October, they're not even gonna release, because they didn't do like the household survey. So for example, there's not going to be an October unemployment rate number because they didn't do the household survey during the government shutdown. So there's just not going to be some of that data. The market was pretty heavy favoring that there wouldn't be a cut in December, but it started to turn a little bit. So we'll see if maybe we do get a bit of a surprise cut in December. And I think going into next year, Jerome Powell's in kind of his lame duck period. He's out early next year. And so I think, the big talk right now with the Fed is who's going to be the next Fed chair that Trump appoints. And I'm, kind of the sentiment is that he's going to get somebody in there that's very hawkish in terms of cutting rates and trying to lower interest rates, because I think that's where the political headwind, the political pressure is getting rates lower, making homeownership more affordable. And so I think they're gonna pick a Fed person, a new Fed chair that's gonna really resonate with that message of we need to cut rates more. Because typically where the mortgage rates come in, they tend to be about 2 to 2.5% above the 10-year, which kind of follows the Fed funds rate. So as the Fed cuts rates, mortgage rates tend to follow. And if you look at like a long-term graph of the federal funds rate and mortgage rates, they don't travel perfectly together, but they definitely follow the same pattern over time. And so that's kind of where long-term, people want the rates lower, because as the short-term rates come down, the long-term end of the curve can come down.
Okay, so those of you who watching for the first time or just tuning in, I'm like, what the heck's on my phone at 9 o'clock on the West Coast, 12 o'clock on the East Coast? What's on my phone right now? This is Corey. Corey got out of the Army as a captain. He wanted to do bigger and better things after taking all of our money going to West Point and, not becoming a general officer. So that was a big waste of $100 and something thousand, but it's not a big deal. We don't care. However, he is doing great things for veterans. He does great things for me. I just refied my house and had a pretty disastrous lending company, but it was pretty easy to handle once we got all the people in line, like plugging the right people.
That was quite the finding, because your situation was pretty unique given the loan size, and a lot of people don't know too. Like in your situation, you can do 100% cash out refi, which is a huge, talking about making money with your VA loan. Yep. You take that money, hopefully you didn't spend it all, betting on sports, and put it
all on the Packers yesterday at Moneyline, baby.
Put it on the Packers. Yeah, if you put it on the Packers yesterday, you'd have done well.
I'd have paid $250,000 if I put that Moneyline. Should have done it. But before you get into that, what I was going to say, that there's people watching, right? There are some stuff that I've learned over my time, studying these things. But again, I didn't know unless I asked, right? I didn't know unless somebody, you find the right people to tell you. Corey's that right guy, all right? He's a veteran. So scan those QR codes down there, and you'll get his email. If you go on our website, VeteranTrashTalk.com, and go to partners, he's on the front page because he's our lead sponsor. And then go to the partners as well if you can't find it, all right, or just message me. All right, ask him the dumbest question you think in the world, right? Like we got Linda, who's on a little bit of a delay, saying, what about home equity? That is exactly what Corey was just talking about in my situation. With the VA loan, you can take 100% out. And if you want to start a business, right? If you want to invest in stocks, right? If you want to look, put something like that, where it's paying you back the interest you're paying on the house, instead of, 50-50, right? So just stuff like that, or maybe a little bit more at 7% on a, I don't know what the rate is on a medium risk mutual fund right now, but I think it's in the 6 or 7s. But at least Dan Dexter was telling me that. So yeah, Corey, talk about that home equity that Linda's asking about.
Yeah. So it basically, the VA, unless you're in Texas, so sorry to you people in Texas, Texas does not allow 100% cash outs. It's actually been taken to court. Sidebar. It's part of their constitution. But if you don't live in Texas, you can take 100% of your home's value out in a cash out refi, assuming you qualify for it. And what that means is that, if you bought your home for $400,000 5 years ago, and now that home is worth $500,000, and you've paid the loan down some, you can take a new VA loan out with a cash out refi for $500,000 for 100% of your home's value and take that difference in cash and put that cash to work for starting a business, investing, paying for school. I don't know, whatever you want to use it for. So it's it's the best refi feature out there. One question I get a lot though is, for the people that bought a home 5 years ago and they have a 3% mortgage rate, it is a cash out refi. So you have to pay off the old loan to take out a new VA loan at market rates, which are going to be in the high 5s, low 6s, probably right now. So as far as a home equity goes, you could do a home equity line of credit, which is maybe what she was asking about. That is separate from the VA loan. That's a different program, but that's also a good option. If you just need a little bit of cash, you can check out some HELOC options. Typically for most HELOCs, you've got to have at least 80% equity in your home, and then they'll start to give you money on the difference between what you owe on your primary mortgage and then that 80%. So for easy math, if your home is worth $1 million and you have a $600,000 mortgage on it, you could probably get up to a $200,000 HELOC, which brings you to that 800 total loan to value, or 80% loan to value there.
Perfect. Yeah, Linda. Yeah, Linda, reach out. Dang it. So again, those of you watching, it's real simple. I just did this, Linda. I just did a 100% cash out refi. It's been phenomenal, and I'll give you guys my little stock tip. All right, look up Sana, SANA. All right, put a little bit of cash into that, a little cheddar into that. All right, and it's up like 25% since that, which is better than the 5% I'm paying on interest. So it's, again, there's a lot of things you can do. One thing, Corey, correct me if I'm wrong here as the financial guy, don't go buy a car, right, unless you need it. Right, unless you need it. Okay?
Yeah,
don't take that.
I'm not a big fan of cars.
Yeah, go make that money work for you, right? Take out that cash and make it work for you. That's what rich people do, and that's how I started off the show. I said it's hard for the little guys to make it big, but in this country, it's not impossible. And for veterans, we have the tool that can start making that process happen, and it's the VA loan. All right. And again, lots of people will tell you how to use it. Lots of people will do it. But we trust Corey. When I know Corey. So again, if he ever gives you wrong advice, just message me. Right. And I'll go slap him around. I'll find whatever tree stand he's in Detroit and scare all the deer away and get back at him. So speaking of that, have you got any deer yet this year?
I've seen a lot of deer. I haven't. We still got a decent amount of time in the season, so I've been waiting for some bigger bucks. Michigan's trying to get you to shoot a ton of does. There's does. You can buy per person 10 doe tags plus your 2 buck tags, so you can shoot 12 deer during the gun season.
Wow. Yeah, you can fill up a bunch of people's freezers with that.
Seen a lot of deer. Have not pulled the trigger on one yet. Just haven't seen any big bucks out yet. A lot of smaller ones, a lot of does. So if we get later in the season and it's about over, it might be time for a doe or a little spiker or something.
Yeah. And so you are rifle hunting.
Yeah. So, well, where I'm at in Michigan, it's like restricted firearm. So shotgun, but yeah, it's firearm.
Okay.
Hunting.
You ever do the they did this in Wisconsin years ago, but they had a season where you could do like muzzle loader.
So the muzzleloader season here, because they want people to keep getting deer, you can use your shotgun. It's the same. You don't have to use like the black powder musket thing. I know Pennsylvania has a season like that where it's like black powder musket type stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to tee this one up too, because again, I'm begging. People don't realize why we started Veteran Trash Talk and Gruntworks. And again, if you're watching for the first time, we started this for our own mental health, as well as finding ways to make everybody understand how to become awesome, get better at things, right? If it's mental health, how to own your demon and then defeat it. If it's, financial, getting jobs, anything. We just want to be able to be like, hey, this is what you got to do, Buttercup. Pick it up and go. And go do this. And then again, that's the NCO in me. Like, soldier come in with a problem. What are you going to do about it? Right? What's your plan? And if you need help, we'll help you. But you're going to do something about it. Do something about your finances. Do something. Use the tool. And there's a lot. I know there's a lot of people who just, the word's probably not ignorant, but just misinformed on what the VA loan is. They might not like the banks, right? The banks are evil, right? This, that, and that. They're like, you're letting that bias stop you from generating wealth with the tool that they give us. So, get after it. What is the scuttlebutt on this Donald Trump 50-year loan thing? What is that?
So I think a lot of people just think it's, he's just throwing out random options that, people are going to pay all this extra interest. I take a little different approach. I think it's just another tool in the tool bag, which, yeah, like, do you want to take a 50-year mortgage out and pay it for 50 years? No. But if it's the difference between qualifying for a home and not qualifying for a home, well, then get in that 50-year mortgage and, maybe refinance it in a couple years to a 30-year or a 20-year or whatever when your situation's a little improved. But I think it can unlock some affordability. And so I think a lot of people were kind of trashing it because they're like, look how much extra interest you pay. This is never going to work.
Greedy banks are going to make all this money.
Banks are going to make all this money. The reality is most mortgages, even a 30-year mortgage, the average life of a 30-year mortgage is about 7 years. Whether it's refied, it's paid off in cash, they sold the house. Most people don't keep the mortgage for their entire, for the entire term. It's pretty rare that a mortgage is held to maturity.
And that's why they do all the interest payments up front, right? The bank, they
that's kind of how the amortization schedule works. So, on a 30-year mortgage, you pay basically the first half of the principal balance off in the first 20 years, and then you pay the second half off in the last 10 years. It's kind of the beer math of it. And so I think, I don't know why so many people are opposed to just new ideas. There hasn't been a new idea in mortgage products in decades. So I look at it as just kind of, I'm glad they're talking about options. Now, will it ever come to fruition that the 50-year mortgage is going to be a thing? Who knows? But at least they're talking about how can we try to make homeownership more attainable, more affordable. Let's do a 50-year mortgage. They've talked about portable mortgages where, like, if you're locked into a 3% mortgage, you can take that with you to your next house and apply that loan to the new house. But they do some of that stuff in Europe a little bit, but Europe is kind of way different in terms of you can't really like prepay your there's prepayment penalties and stuff in Europe on a lot of those mortgages. So they're portable in some regard. But I just think it's good that they're trying to figure out ways to make homeownership more affordable. Is the 50-year mortgage the answer? I don't, probably not, but it could be an option for certain people.
Right.
And I think they say the average monthly savings with the average home in America, it's $200 to $300 a month. So, $200 to $300 a month might be the difference between qualifying and not qualifying for the home you want. And so you get in that home, you pay off some debt, improve your finances a little bit, rates come down a little bit, and then you refinance that to a 30-year mortgage or something. And but you've had that house for so much longer. So I think it'll help open up. If they do bring it up, it just opens up liquidity, options for more people.
Right.
To get into homes.
Yeah, I'm going to say this for the dummies out there like me. Again, you can sit there and think because you watched a YouTube video that you know everything about the banks and mortgages and everything like that, and these greedy banks. Well, unless you go start a bank, that's a fact in life, bro. They got the money, right? They got it, and if you want to start making some, you got to leverage them. All right, you got to use them. And Corey will correct me if I'm wrong. Banks don't mind smart people leveraging their money, right? Because they're still making money. Right. That's the idea is everybody just starts making money. Yeah, that 50-year loan thing. Again, you start watching all the critics on it, and I'm sitting here like, God, these guys just want to complain about everything. And I always tell people, I go, I hate politicians. I go, but I would vote for the first politician to say, I don't know how to fix this, but I'm going to try 16 things. Right?
Exactly.
I'm going to try these 16 things, and I'm going to take what's good from one of them and dump what's bad, and then try number 2. Right? And see what happens. Right? So, yeah, like you said, trying something different. And again, for you, those of you out there who are afraid to use banks and to buy homes, use that VA loan. And if that 50-year comes available, if that's the house you're going to live in for the rest of your life, if you're like Buddy Beckwith, you want to buy a house in, Tennessee in the mountains, dude, who cares if it's a 50-year loan? And if you become successful, or you get like an inheritance, or you get a great job, right? And you can now afford more, refinance it and get out of it. Like, holy cow. But
yeah, and I think that's the big thing is, nobody expects anyone to keep these 50-year loans for a very long time, but I think it can be a great way to help get people into homes. I saw some crazy statistic, like the median age of a new homeowner in America now is like 40 years old. It used to be 10 years ago, it was like 33. So, the VA loan I would love to see just more people use the VA loan, because it's such a tool to get access to real estate, buying a home before, because you don't need the down payment. That's one of the hardest things I think younger people struggle with, is like
huge.
saving enough for even a 5% down payment can be a lot of money. Because you can get into a big misconception. You can get into a home for less than 20% down, even with a conventional loan. There's a lot of good 3 and 5%, 10% down options. But even that, can be a lot of money to save if you're at an entry-level job and you've got student loans and you've got other stuff that you're dealing with. But the VA loan is, by far and away, I think one of the best benefits people get for serving in the military, because of just how much wealth it can build. And I've talked to several guys in our network that have bought multiple homes, and they're kind of running the math, like, how much money over their life will the VA loan have made them? And it's in the millions. It'll be in the millions for sure.
Yeah. I can tell you mine is approaching. I used my first VA loan in 2007.
Okay.
Right? I sold that house. I think I profited, and I'll just be honest, everybody watching, I think I profited like $80,000. Right? And then I couldn't get it in Hawaii because I tried, but you only have like 30 days. And that's why PCS to Paradise, if you're going out to Hawaii, you want to make some money, fucking scan that QR code as soon as you get orders, right?
Yeah, and they've got stricter too, which makes it even harder for people now with the 30 days and minimal extension. It's tough.
And I couldn't find anything, in my price range in that short of time. So I just started renting. But then I bought a house in El Paso when I PCS there, used my VA loan again. And I made $200,000 on that house. So now I'm at 280. And then the refi that I just did, the cash out refi on my VA loan, it's putting me close to over $500,000 in under 20 years. Right? So 18 years, that's, what is that, 30,000 a year? That's 30,000 a year just by using the VA loan.
Just from, and because you didn't have to invest anything to get those properties.
Nothing. Yeah, not a dime. So, yeah, like I said, use it. You young guys watching, or you older grumpy people that hate the government, don't make the mistake that you did. Teach your kids to use the VA loan. All right? Get them out there and use it. And we're wrapping up on the half hour. Dave Trenton's watching. Yeah, he's that's Faceman. He should log on to his Faceman account and then share this and tag a bunch of things on it, because he owns a social media company Corey's a sponsor of, right? You can do that. And then he also runs Armed Forces Across America. And so, get with them, because Corey does a lot of the loans for them as well. So him and his bride Megan do that stuff. Get on that, Armed Forces Across America. But yeah, Corey, thanks for coming on. I don't want to hold you up. You got to get back in that tree stand. Get after it. Go smack a buck.
Yeah,
so
I'll send you a picture. We get a nice one here.
send me a picture. Send me some backstraps.
Well,
all right? I need
I'll
some
send you
steaks.
some backstraps. I'll send you some backstraps to celebrate Michigan beating Ohio State tomorrow.
Hey, I'm on par with that. I actually do not like most of my Ohio State friends. The way they act during football. I prefer the Michigan fan over that. So it just is what it is. I said Armed Forces Across America, Dave. All right, maybe if you.
Yeah, we do. Those guys are Dave and Megan are amazing. Definitely check out Armed Forces Across America. We've helped in just this year alone, and when they launched it, I think we've helped 8 people. We're helping one person a month right now. It seems like we just closed one in New Jersey, so we're doing them all over.
Yeah. We'll bring Dave and Megan on next time again and do that joint show where it connects, and we'll do that next time for sure. So Dave, log on as Spaceman, share it, tag it, do it. All right, we're wasting time. We're burning it down. And again, if you're on our store, shop.VeteranTrashTalk.com, we're having problems because Dave's screwing that up too. There's a couple of shirts that are just not able to buy. So we'll fix it. We'll get it ironed out. However, we got this one. Okay, we got this one. This is our hot one. This one's selling a lot. I think we sold almost 1,000 of them already. But it's not waterboarding if you use eggnog. All right, so go get that one. All right, stay warm for the holidays, and then don't become a triggered pansy. All right, we've been saying that. Don't be a triggered pansy when it comes to banks and VA loans. Go use it. Contact Corey. Those QR codes, or go to VeteranTrashTalk.com. All right, guys, that's it. Enjoy your Black Friday, and we'll see you guys in a week. Well, actually, probably tomorrow for the fights.